Or let's just say if it's 15% that know, that have knowledge of stuff, like it's gonna the impact. What if they're aware of, let's say, how or the programming that's, let's say if it's like a billboard and you pass it by, subconscious is gonna pick it up whether you're looking at it or not. So for the people, if they're already aware of these particular type of things, then that's where the conscious mind or that Doubting Thomas or that protector of the subconscious are already being placed. So it's not a person not gonna see a Snickers billboard and it's just gonna become a background of their reality where they're gonna have Snickers in the cabinet, because they already know in their conscious mind that this type of whether it's subliminal or if it's subconscious, is already set up in place in order for them to be the consumer and for that to be a part of their reality. So that's
yeah. Well, we had to drop that. We had to drop that knowledge for the people, man, because we couldn't miss that knowledge, man. The people needed that, God. So definitely, man, we had to put that on. That's low key, just in case, man. I don't know. We got BC Politico in the house. My partner LoKI gonna finish join us, but when he's in the session, man, dropping knowledge and science, man, to help somebody move forward. Sometimes I like to get a sneak peek and get that on and get that recorded so we can have that, so we can store that into our memory bank and use that knowledge in our personal life, right? But we finna tie metaphysics and politics. We finna intertwine the both, and the reason being is because Trump and his affirmative action. But the purpose, and BC Politico could give you more in depth on the reason why we needed affirmative action. And I know a lot of people, like say Clarence Thomas, who benefited from it, but yet want to denounce it. But at the same time, on the metaphysical level, if your higher self is to conquer your lower self, but if you've been in slavery and you've been reduced down to zero and you're trying to build yourself back up, then you need a boost, a little help, which is what they indeed term affirmative action, because you need that boost to even recognize or even get in the playing field so you can discover who you actually are as a person. So we're going to intertwine all that. But first, now I got BC Politico as a guest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I got a partner LoKI, man. You know LoKI, everyday people, man. You know how we do. What's up, God?
What's going on, God?
Okay, now look, affirmative action. Just to give a quick basis, because I know some of you who are well equipped with knowledge understand what affirmative action was, but there's some who never. It's better put from one of your own to give a definition to something, because they put it in terms that you can understand versus white folks' terms. So affirmative action, BC Politico, just a quick basis on what that was, the building blocks of what that was supposed to do.
Affirmative action, this was put in place to help black people catch up. It was only maybe 50, 60 years ago that black people were even able to go to some of our elite universities. In the South, Ole Miss, the University of Alabama, they wasn't allowed to go to these schools. The elite schools in Texas, University of Texas, Texas A&M. Right. They built Texas Southern University so that blacks would have a place to go to law school. They didn't want blacks to go to the University of Texas Law School. So in order to give blacks an equal footing, they created affirmative action to help them catch up and gain a place in these universities.
Okay. Now today, I'm seeing on the news where Trump is saying, well, and some of his constituents are saying, well, let's end affirmative action.
Well, white people have never liked it. They have always been looking for a scapegoat. Why we can't get ahead, and they're blaming the Mexicans, they're blaming the Hispanics that's coming from Latin America, and they've always blamed blacks. Black people are taking our jobs. They're giving black people these slots in these universities, and they're taking them away from white people. But that's not the case. If white people qualify, then they'll accept it. the white people that's not getting in there, that's on the margin, and they're not making it. But the black people that's getting in there, they're not getting in there because they're not qualified. They get in there because they're trying to catch up. University of Texas, 60,000 students and only about 5% are black. Right. But this is a state university that's getting tax money from blacks, white, Mexican, and everybody else. So shouldn't we have an equal opportunity to get into these schools?
That's right. To build. Capitalistic society needs somewhere to grow, to build, to make money. What can you do in America without money?
You can't make it in this capitalistic society without money.
It's not happening. Mm-hmm. So but brother LoKI. So but let me ask you this then. Mm-hmm. So can we say affirmative action replace we can say voodoo or can we say affirmative action help replace that old Egyptian mystery school teachings that was stripped from us to where we needed something in place to build on a principle to raise that inner being?
Yeah, never obstacle, always opportunity. So, if it's a grant or if it's a right or privilege, if the opportunity come up, we have a choice to take advantage of it, because, down here in Mount Coop, we need as many weapons as we can get our hands on, just because, things can get complex at times, especially when we have become accustomed to this concept of luxury. So it's not like we're just out living in the bush, strictly functioning off of nature, so since we're over here, and we're taking part of these things we could pick up at these stores and even if it's, just because we're not building strictly off the land, so with that comes, sacrifices that got to be made. And in the midst of that, like I said, if there's an opportunity that's available, we ought to be taking advantage of it just as long as it doesn't compromise a person's integrity, just as long as the person don't feel like they're compromising their integrity.
Right. That's a fact. Because the main thing is moving ahead and understanding. First of all, you have to understand these politics, man. I mean, we politicking in everything we do. You got to understand the lobbyists. I mean, you got to understand what the Bible say in Rome, do what the Romans do. You got to understand the law of Rome. Where you at, the rules, how to move and maneuver within the guidelines of the structure. But okay, so BC, it seemed like, okay, now we had Obama. We started learning, a little bit about politics, and we thought things was a particular way. But I was listening to Cynthia McKinney the other day, right? Cynthia McKinney said that, man, it's all fake, man. She said that she would see where two opposing sides at the end of the show, they getting along with each other. She said, man, they both playing the same game, but I can't put my finger on how we have a Clarence Thomas. You said, well, Thurgood Marshall, people would say he was pretty fair. Herman Cain. You got all these black politicians. What's the boy in Minnesota, man? Ellis. The one who, man, look, Ellis, I seen the picture of you and the minister, man. How you gonna get up there and let them Jews make you denounce the minister? That's on another note, man. But you got all these black politicians that's in the governing body. Why is the inner city? Why we as black people have a lack of knowledge to how the whole process and the voting interest, which we did a show on earlier, what we missing out on? We're not making a connection to something like.
These black politicians get up there, and when they get a taste of power, they want to hold on to it. Ellis, he was with Farrakhan, but if he want to keep his seat, keep the little power that he has, then he's got to disavow some people in the black community. Right. Once you get on that gravy train, Yeah, they tend to want to stay on there.
But what do they say about the children though? Meaning, but what you're saying is, what you gonna do is you gonna lie, or you gonna play the political game. But yet the children saying, well, what's the truth? You create a line between truth and falsehood, or I can't stand on my belief and principles because I got to play this game over here. So, and these are people you're supposed to look up to as political officials. It's crazy.
Well, one thing that would help black people in this political arena, if we would raise money to fund our politicians. We got a mayor in Houston. He raised more money than any other mayoral candidate, but it didn't come from the black community.
Yeah, so he got it.
So his allowance is with who?
Yeah.
If he's going to face an election soon, and he know who put him in there. Black people didn't just put him in there because black people own about 20% of the population of Houston, and money is the lifeblood of politics. When he raised all this money, he knew who it came from. It came from those trial attorneys. It came from the big business downtown. So he know he's got to dance to their music. If you take that money, you're going to have to be paid to the piper. It's just that simple.
That's the game. That is the game. How we going? We need to rectify that, bro.
Rectify that by having your own nation, your own jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And start making that the conversation so people can start getting more comfortable with the idea.
But we did, you're right. But we had our own jurisdiction, our own nation right here in America.
Yeah.
Had our own flag.
Right. Right.
You would see Thomas Jefferson took his oath on the Quran, didn't he?
He took his oath on the Quran.
Written by, I believe, Ibn Said. Wrote it hand by hand.
Okay.
Your handwritten Quran.
Yeah.
Black people will give money and they raise money, but it tend to only go to churches. We got more mega churches in this city than anywhere else. And what are they doing for the community?
Man, the politicians run the churches. Hell, the only time you see white folk at black churches who say running for election. And everybody got to be on their best behavior now. The whole rest of the month, we at each other's throats. But that one Sunday white folks show up in the church looking for a vote, everybody got to be good.
So if we can contribute to the church and we can build these big monuments to these preachers, why can't we contribute to a politician that's got our best interests at heart? Since they wouldn't have to depend on the white businesses for their support, and they would be held accountable to us.
We got to create a politician. We got to create a politician. We got to, but this is the thing though. The redistricting though, bro. I mean, the redistricting is it seemed like okay, you might have a good candidate, but when they redistrict, it kicks the good ones out, and they seem like they bring their people in or something. They're rezoning. Did it help us or hurt us?
The redistricting hurt us, but here's another thing. We have statewide election. If you vote in statewide elections, you would get a governor that would be in charge of redistricting. You don't vote in the statewide election. You don't vote in the local elections. So then you get these candidates. You got a Republican governor. He's controlled the legislature. He controlled the agenda for the legislature. So he controlled redistricting. If you vote, a lot of people don't even know who's running for governor this year.
That's true. You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
So if you were to vote for the governor, he would control the legislative agenda. He would control redistricting, and then you would get maps drawn that would be in your best interest.
So look, for insight on how the process works, make sure y'all tune in and share this show and find out who's running. Now look, is Abbott on the ticket again? Or gonna
Abbott is on the ticket. Abbott has outraised his opponent 20-1. So Abbott is probably going to be reelected.
Abbott, that's Trump, boy. Hey, look, man, we have to do more before Houston turns into California. Meaning, as far as their cost of living, I mean, it's you make $116,000 in California, you broke. For Northern California, that ain't no money. You know, Texas is especially Houston, man, is different from all the other states, other cities across America, in a sense that you can get you a decent place to stay with some land down here. You know, we just don't want to we don't want to. Black people in Houston, we in a good position, I think, man. You got a black mayor, you have to get you like BC Political say, get involved in body politics such as far as your governors, your state, your local, because our population, we got a nice sized population here in Houston. You know, we just not united in a sense. Look, as always, and before we go, is there any type of metaphysical body of government that we share prior to our sojourn here in America, or how we united, or did we unite on a certain astral plane? Did we unite on a certain month, star symbol, or what was some of the sort of foundation that we used to stand on, or a common denominator that we share?
Well, I mean,
we all tribal. Your tribe over here, my tribe over here.
Well, there's a lot of things, that we were utilizing. I mean, I would say, like I tell my loved ones and my family is, deal with what you're drawn to, what naturally comes to you. And because there is no right or wrong, thing to deal with, it's just based on results. Like we've talked about, it's all about results.
Well, we got to roll Verb Creek Radio, but I don't want to say this vertigo though. When you read the Bible, right, and this is what we just did, if y'all would, if for those who don't understand, when you read the Bible, you'll hear the physical story, but there's a metaphysical story behind the story. They give you metaphors, or some would say myths. They give you metaphors saying that, for example, Jesus walked on water. Some people would take that literally, but the metaphysical meaning behind that is that your brain sits in a body of water, and he went to raise up that your higher nature, your higher self with the word, so you can move. So when we do that, you got to know both sides, and I appreciate these two guests because they are well equipped on both sides of their field. I appreciate y'all for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.